All right. For the benefit of people who are watching the recording, this is the second hour. So I have warm up with the people here. And we are at the stage where, sorry, let me just, no need to show you this, right? We are at the stage where we will look at the answer key and we will digest the answer key and we will then do the question. This is not, I am not expecting anybody here to be able to do this by themselves. However, doesn't mean that you cannot volunteer to do so. If you want to challenge yourself, that is a nice thing. It's not a bad thing. For those who are here, just say first, do you want to volunteer to not look at the answer key and try by yourself? Okay, I will take that as a no. So I will show you the answer key. Sorry. Before you do that, would you please write down the question? It's very short, isn't it, people? Write down the question, please. You have 30 seconds. Very easy. Tell me when you're done, yeah, by a thumbs up. Paper two. Yeah. Okay, are you done? Methodist girls. So, question one. Are you done, people? Writing the question, sorry.
Yeah.
Okay, right. So I'm going to show you the answer key. If the answer key is short, then too bad I have to explain to you, right? If the answer key is long, then you have to digest. Question 5. Oh, it's a long answer key. So I'm going to shift to there you go. Now, when you're digesting, you can ask questions, but I will set the time limit. The time limit is 2 minutes. I've been asking you to ask a lot of questions or at least to answer them. So please get your initiative up and ask immediately when you don't understand something. This is not how I sometimes explain, ma. So, you know. Do not write down the answer key though. Okay. I mean, I guess you can write down, but you don't get to look at it later. I'm sorry. So you can write down if you want to. Some people find it easier to process that way. So I'm expecting you to ask questions. Are you sure you do not want to ask questions for the first part?
Wait, where did the one come from?
Yeah, you take very long to ask that question, you know. So this is a product rule situation. If you haven't realized, it's a product rule situation, and you may have forgotten the product rule. Therefore, I will write down for you. It looks similar to the quotient rule just now, but it's simpler. This is your U, this is your V. Therefore, this must be U, V prime, that sort of thing. Do you understand? This must be your V and this must be your U prime. Do you see that?
Yes.
The rest should see that more clearly, but it's just product rule, people. Just product rule. For 2 marks.
Okay.
Now, anybody want to ask questions on the second part, the hence, the iconic integration after differentiation? 1 more minute. Frankly speaking, though, you don't have to look at the answer key. You already know what to do. That's what I'm training you, right? That's what I'm training you. Looking at the answer key is just to help you recall. If you're memorizing the answer key, you're probably in for a big trouble. You want to understand it, not memorize. Okay, Anu, can I close the answer key?
No, I still need more time to process.
Do process, fine. Sean, can I close the answer key?
1 more minute.
Fair. Matthew? Matthew?
Oh, my bad.
Mhm.
Not yet.
Okay. But 2 more minutes, people. Other than that, you're probably memorizing too much and understanding very little because you are not even asking questions, right? Okay, 2 more minutes.
Wait, I'm kind of confused about like the fourth equation.
Sorry, fourth line, is it? This one?
Yeah.
You're okay with 1, 2, 3?
Yeah.
Notice that we are, first of all, we are here and we are very similar to that. Similar lah, almost the same, okay? They are just, I believe, wait. Oh. So obviously this one is just a rearrangement. That's okay.
Yeah.
I believe this one, I'm sorry. Let me just use a different one. This is the same as that. And this might have confused you. This might have confused you. This might have been confusing. That's fine. But they did something important. They have, I believe, I'm so sorry, that's bad. I believe they have, yes, they have. They have integrated the blue one. The blue one to them is a simple integration. To you, it may not, but to them, it is. Is that what you're confused about?
Yeah.
Okay, so let me repeat the integration of this guy, right? That's the question I'm looking for. So what you're referring to must be the exception, remember basic 3 exceptions of differentiation. Whenever we think about integration, we think about differentiation. I hope at least I get that straight. Integration of, I am so sorry. Integration of e to the power x or differentiation is e to the power x, vice versa. So far so good, you okay, sir?
Yeah.
What is this thing? This thing is so different. This is e to the power 3 minus 2x. Oh no. Well, no. Well, if you differentiate this, it will be, by chain rule, e to the power of e minus 2x. And then I have to add minus 2 in front because of chain rule. Are you confused, sir?
No.
Now, if you understand this, now look, when I integrate this, in some way, I lose the minus 2, correct? In some ways, lah. Correct?
Yeah.
Correct. Therefore, by logic, look, if I integrate this guy, I need to do the same thing here, but I need to, well, do that. Did that make some sense?
Yeah.
Because if I differentiate it, I get that. I do get that.
Oh,
Make
okay.
sense? Make sense? This is just being you're just not very used to this, but it turns out to be quite simple. It is a good question. Anu, last call. Any questions?
I'm still looking at it. It's kind of hard to understand.
Fair enough. The answer key are harder than the teacher explaining. That's fair. Which means you have to rely more on what I'm saying as much as what you're looking at here. You have to rely on what I'm saying to get a sense of it. I'm sorry if it doesn't help too much, but this is part of the training. Anu, are you sure you don't have any specific thing to ask though?
Not yet.
Okay. Matthew?
The C1, like,
How did the minus C become plus C1?
yeah.
It's very annoying that they do that, to be fair. It's very annoying, okay? Okay, so C and C1 is different. As in, one is a different number than the other one because the labeling is different. In a way that, C and D is different lah, or C1, C2 is different. They represent different things. So far, so good?
Yeah.
Now, why would they do that? Because they I think they accidentally write down minus C and they don't like minus C. So they just change it to plus C1 because they cannot write plus C, cannot. They hate minus, so they do a plus. That's all they're doing. Something like this. They end up writing minus C. They don't like it, so they change it to plus D. But they just don't write plus D. They just write plus C1 because that's what they want. Do you understand what I'm saying?
Oh,
They hate the minus, which you can understand, hating the minus. So change it, but please don't write plus C. That would be wrong. Just change the label lah.
so in the final answer, you could just also write minus 2C.
Yes. That won't be a
okay.
mistake. That won't be a mistake at all. And I think you should just stick to that lah. I think what they are doing here is unnecessarily complicated. It's very annoying.
Okay.
Fair. You are fair to think that the answer keys are not the most clear one. That's true lah. That's true. Fair. Guys, can we close this? Okay. It requires some courage on your part. Please recognize that. I'm asking you to do something that requires knowledge, but also courage lah. Can we close it? Please say a yes.
Yeah.
Okay. You have the question. So I'm going to close it and give ourselves a timer. Don't wait until the timer finish. Please ask questions, okay? If you are stuck. Please don't wait, okay? If you are stuck. You can think, but don't do nothing. Knowledge and courage, okay? For those recording, we seem to be doing nothing because I cannot show anything, right? Okay, so I might as well just show the question one more time. I suppose that's better. Sorry, I better bookmark this. And then I'll go back to the question. Okay. So for those watching the recording, you shouldn't be doing nothing. You should be trying. Okay, you have the benefit of rewinding the video, you know. Okay. The people here do not have that. Oh, sorry.
Sure.
No, are you okay?
wanted to ask, you know, e to the power of x differentiator is equal to e to the power of x. How come
Correct.
there's a
Mhm.
-2 in front of that?
Right, right. So the exception that you remember is correct, right? So the integration also fine. Now, this is obviously, I'm sorry. This is obviously not basic, correct or not? It's not the basic exceptions, correct? You must then think about rule. That's how I teach you. Do you understand? You must think
Yeah.
about the appropriate rule, and there is no product or quotient rule here. There is only chain rule, right? There is only chain rule. That is the only rule applicable here, even though you cannot see it. Fair enough so far?
Yeah.
Now, who is the inside and who is the outside? That's the question to ask in chain rule.
3 minus 2x is inside.
Good. That's the inside because this is the outside. I hope that makes some sense.
Yeah.
Therefore, as you differentiate, you will apply chain rule, right? Applying chain rule means, first of all, you pretend that the inside is as simple as x. You pretend, right? First, you
Yeah.
start with the pretend, which is there, lah, right? There. But then the chain rule kicks in. The chain rule says you have to times the inside differentiated, which is -2. That's your answer. Not that it makes sense, but this is going to be correct.
Oh, okay.
Remember, that's the chain rule, the inside differentiated.
Okay.
Okay, 5 minutes is out. So just asking where you are, Matthew.
I'm almost done with the first part.
Okay. Sir. Sir, where are you?
I'm still at the find integrated for x.
Oh, you did the first part already.
I just finished.
Sure thing. The other 5 minutes, people. Anu, are you okay?
Yep.
Okay. Matthew-san?
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
sure. When you're done, tell me. When you're stuck, tell me. Guys watching the recording, do it please, even though you cannot ask me lah. Again, you have the benefit of rewinding the video if you need to. Okay, guys. Anu, are you okay?
Yeah, but I'm not done.
Okay, you can still continue. Bener? Okay, all right. Okay, Matthew?
Not done yet.
Okay, Sean?
I'm not done yet.
Right, right. Good to know nobody stopped. Okay. Hmm. Anu, are you done?
Yeah, but then I got -2C instead of +2C1.
Oh, interesting. Okay, let's see what happened. Matthew?
I'm at the final step.
Sure thing. Sean?
I'm not done yet.
Okay. I will show you the answer key, people, so that you can check. Then we'll have a discussion, right? Sorry, that's wrong. That's weird. Okay, Anu, go ahead. If you can find your own mistake better, but after 1 minute, if cannot, please, let's do it together. And normally you have access to the answer key, right? So it should be quite easy thing to change. Can you find your mistake?
Is it when negative c is integrated, it becomes positive?
Right. Negative C is not integrated at all. So the only thing that's integrated is, I'm so sorry. Wait. The only thing that's integrated is this one. So this one stays the same, and this one, so to speak, stays the same. Remember I told you, they seems to not like the minus, so they decided to make it a plus, but they cannot write plus C. Minus C to plus C doesn't make a lot of sense, so they decided to change the label to D. Unfortunately, they don't use D, they use C1, which is to say, it's just a change of label so that they can write a plus instead of a minus. They seem to be allergic to minus. That's the only reason. Do you understand?
What? But then if I write minus 2c, is that also correct?
Very much so.
Okay.
Hey, you are just now Matthew asked that question, you know.
Oh,
Congratulations for doing it right, I suppose. Now, can we say that you are correct, Anu?
yeah.
Good, good. Matthew?
I ended up with a positive C.
Oh, the 2 is the problem, isn't it?
Yeah.
But just to confirm, he has to change the 2 to 4, correct? Which
Mm-hmm.
is to say, you have to do a door of times 2, like everything must times 2 left and right, correct?
Yeah.
So this one times 2, this one times 2, this one, this thing times 2, this thing times 2, and this thing times 2. That's why they have a 2C. Does that make any sense?
Mm-hmm.
That didn't happen to you?
No, I also have 2C, but it's positive 2C.
You mean from here, it's positive C? Is that correct?
Yeah.
So therefore, this becomes minus C, correct?
Yeah.
Okay, therefore, you just follow with minus C and then minus 2C lah. Does that make any sense?
Wait, but like my C never changed side.
Let me think for a while. They did change that. Wait, I mean, did they change that? Yeah. Yes, they did change sides. They did, yeah. So you have to see for yourself. Is it true that your C does not need to change side? Okay.
Wait, I'll look through my
Okay, true. But I'm glad that that is your only problem. If that is your only problem, I'm currently very, very glad. Right? Son, are you okay?
Yeah, my C was also positive, but then I found a mistake.
Guys, if that is your only problem, you guys have all the same problem, right? I'm very glad, right? Very glad. Now, I'll ask you something first, right? I'll have to turn on the video, right? Again, your problem is there, but it's minor. It costs you 1 mark in the real exam, and you will hopefully get a lot of a lot of exercise in preventing that. So I wouldn't be too worried about it. Okay, now let me ask you something. So the plan is I'll keep asking you to do this kind of thing for all the other variations. We just covered one of the variation, which is quite a lot of marks. You did end up choosing the least marks. You will have examples of more marks of this variation. Usually is taught last, the last variation. But you get the logic, you get the structure already lah. So you're already getting why I'm doing this. I'm doing this to get you used to the variation. But therefore, I have to ask you to do all other variations also, so that you're used to changing variations. That's the point. Why? Because it is very likely that the process in your school, even though your school is very good with your tempo, will lack a little bit in solidifying your variation. Then suddenly you have to deal with all these variations plus the previous topics which are rusty. So, and then you have to deal with all the other subjects doing the same thing to you. We are preventing that from happening by doing it very early. So I have to ask you to repeat this variation, but also to do other variations lah. Okay, now that's the idea. Now my question is like that lah. So Anu, you went through the process, and I would say that you and everybody else is rather successful. Very good. How do you feel about the process?
Like the question.
What you feel when you went through it, I suppose.
I was like a bit underconfident at the start, but now I feel better about it.
That is definitely what we're aiming for, right? Definitely, right? Do you feel somewhat tired also in processing it?
Not really.
Do you feel that it does require some courage, at least at the start, lah?
Yeah.
Which is why you say you're underconfident, right?
Yeah.
Okay. In this case, I would like to say to you, Anu, and everybody else, confidence is overrated in a certain way. Confidence is never there when you needed one. Saying it in an extreme way, but you wish you had confidence. Anu, correct? You wish you had confidence. It will be easier for you to start, but you, I guess, trust the process. You kind of give me the benefit of doubt lah. I'm asking you to do something, and you replace confidence because you don't have them with courage. Turns out quite well, and confidence becomes your reward. Make sense? Correct or not, Anu?
Yeah.
That is how confidence is misunderstood, so to speak, lah. It's overrated. When you feel that you need it because you don't have confidence, people, the confidence is not there. It is never there. But if you do it and you do it well, in this case, everybody does well, you get confidence as a reward. Confidence is never the starting point, at least when you need it, but confidence is always a reward, a result of a good performance. Keep that in mind. That nature of confidence never changes one. It's not your fault. Confidence is never, so to speak, there when you need it the most. You have to supplement with courage. As far as I can tell, as a human being, there is no other way. Okay? Anything else that you feel, Anu, that you want to share?
Not really.
Okay, Matthew?
Like, do I answer the question?
I suppose. If you feel nothing, say you feel nothing, but you should feel something, I suppose.
I mean, I felt quite intimidated when seeing the answer.
The answer key, right? The answer key. Okay, then?
Like, I mean, it took some time to process.
But you did process it, and then?
Yeah, but like when I understood it, then it became like less intimidating.
And your reward is you know you can understand it, right?
Yeah.
Therefore, admittedly, that is the easier question as I've seen of that type of question. But it still remains true that because you went through that process, just one question, just one question. When your teacher explains things, you will feel motivated, more motivated to understand it, and you will feel less intimidated if somehow the teacher's question is hard.
Yeah.
Hopefully that is true, right? That is part and parcel of the process that we went through. And like I said, if we went through this, your Sec 4 will be solid, particularly because you will have confidence in class. Why? You know where you're heading. That's one of it. You also feel that you can understand it. Okay, that's good for you. Anything else that you feel, Matthew?
No.
Just to confirm that even as you seem to understand the answer key, when you start doing it by yourself, close the answer key, blank paper, start to do it yourself, you still need to summon some courage, correct?
Yeah.
And what is your, so to speak, reward at the end? If you feel anything like.
I mean, it was quite accomplishing to
Mhm.
like see that I got
Mhm.
the answer or like somewhat close there.
Somewhat very close. Totally different if you can do this 2 weeks before O-level. Correct or not? Totally different.
Yeah.
That point, hey, you're just catching up. You are doing this 2 days before Sec 4 start. So good for you and I. Sun, how do you feel?
I was like happy myself because I got the answer, and I didn't think I was able to get the answer.
But you did. You did.
Yeah.
That's not gonna be taken away from you, okay? That is not.
Mhm.
Okay, you're already getting some confidence as, a reward of the process lah. Let me just confirm, at the start, you basically feel the same thing as the rest.
Yeah.
When you look at the answer key, you feel like that.
Yeah.
When after you process the answer key, you also still feel
Mhm.
When you start doing the question, you still feel
Yeah.
But you go through the process, and there you go, everybody here. So this is a testimony to you people. I'm asking you to do something that seems to be correct. Currently, the only proof you have is that you feel good about it after completing the process lah, not at the start. At the start, as I've told you, you require courage, not just knowledge. But at the end, you yourself seems to think, yeah, this is not such a bad thing to do. Right? That is the only solid proof you have right now. Now you have two things lah. You can trust me when I keep repeating to you and everybody watching this recording, do this, man, do this, do this, do this. Even as we cover different variations, do it, man. But you now have an internal sense that, this is quite good and good for you. Any questions so far? Okay, now for you and everybody else, I'll make an announcement first. We will not have tuition for the first 2 weeks. So I'm not counting this week, I'm counting next week. Let's just count next week as your start. I know you're going to school this Thursday. Just count next week and next week, the next week. So the next 2 weeks, not counting this week, I won't be available. That's my real break. I haven't been taking a break in December. I've been recovering, if you like. It's a very special year for me and my family. We had just had a second daughter, right? So that will be my real break. You have your break. I haven't had my break, so to speak. But I've already presented to you what I want you to do. Your school will teach you things or maybe revise to you. I have presented to you. You need to start looking at answer keys and getting used to variation very, very slowly through January and February. Intuition, mostly that is what we're doing, besides solidifying some other topics that your teacher teach. However, whatever your top topics your teacher teach you is gonna feel easier or manageable. So do your homeworks. Except for trigonometry, which I also have prepared you by getting you used to the identities. Okay, to a certain extent, it has been made easier. Okay, Anu, Matthew, and Sean, are you clear about what I want you guys to do in January and February?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Even if we don't have any tuition for the first 2 weeks, I will still say to you, okay, look, I'll send you in the group, right, for everybody else. These are the questions with certain variations. Look at the answer key and do it yourself. You may succeed, you may not. But going through the process is, I hope today convinces you it is a good thing. Okay? Because for obvious reasons, nobody will ask you to do it. It's your teacher cannot ask you to do it. Why? Because your teacher hasn't teach you, right? Not a lot of people can ask you to do this, but I can, and hopefully today you receive a confirmation it is good. Okay, we have 10 more minutes, so let's vote. Okay, let's vote. AMAT is the most troublesome thing to do, but most of you seem want to do well in AMAT. So I assume doing well in AMAT together with the other subjects, that's what you want, not just AMAT. So make a choice. You want me to help you remember trigonometry, right? The identities, or you want me to cover another differentiation integration variation. Okay, those are the two choices in the last 10 minutes. Anu, make a choice.
Honestly, anything is okay.
Okay, Matthew?
I actually haven't started on Trigo.
You will start very soon.
Yeah.
Would you like that?
I think it'll be better to do the differentiation one.
The variations. Okay.
Yeah.
But you also haven't started that. You mean you mean intuition, you have studied differential integration, so it's better to just do that. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
Okay. Just be careful of the trigonometry, at least in the first 2 weeks, right? Okay. Sun, just to confirm your option.
Try with anything.
Okay, then let's do one more differentiation integration variation. Okay, that's what we're gonna do, people in recording. Okay, there are 9 variations, right? Roughly like that. So let's find another one. Okay. This is no. Okay, this not. Okay, people. Remember what I say. In the end, for math and sciences, in the end, it's no matter what the question is, certain things are always true. In some sense, the question doesn't matter. In some sense, okay? In some sense, whatever the question is, you're gonna do and think certain things because those things are always effective. Okay? Now, those things are not memorizing the answer key, but to understand the flow of the answer, which is what I taught you just now. That's why you can do it. Maybe because you understand the flow. Let me now repeat the flow for this particular question. This particular question is also very easy to recognize. That is always the first thing. You recognize the question, it triggers a flow in your mind. You must practice the flow, not the answer key, right? You must practice the flow. The answer key helps you with that, right? Now, enough theories lah. So, what is the flow in we call this a kinematics question, people. Kinematics question is just a matter of having velocity, acceleration, obviously having time, and they never say this, it should have some distance or displacement. So here's your displacement. So let me repeat this one more time. It is a displacement, velocity, acceleration question in time, which is complicated by the fact that the displacement can become distance and they are slightly different. The velocity can become speed, they are slightly different. The acceleration stays for whatever strange reason. This is the type of question. Any clarification so far? If not, let me repeat for you the flow. The flow is very simple. I write displacement on top of velocity because if you integrate acceleration, it'll become velocity. If you integrate velocity, it'll become displacement. Of course, if you differentiate downward, it is the same. So it is a very ripe setup for integration and differentiation. This question actually comes from physics. Some of you take physics, some of you don't. The JC physics, so again, none of you take JC physics right now, will feel very easy if you understand this one. So good for you later on if you decided to do that. But for now, this comes from physics and they make it harder in AMAT because they want to use it for for differentiation integration. Do not fear when I say the word physics, it doesn't matter, right? I'm just telling you the origin of the question. Now, what they will expect you to do is probably to do one integration and one differentiation, therefore giving you velocity as a start. They can also give you acceleration as a start and expect you to integrate twice. That's also fine. Okay? In the most basic form, that is what they do in the most basic form. How does this question complicate things? Very simple. They give you two particles. Two particles is not a very standard fare, but they can do that, of course. They can do that and they can easily do that. The two particle situation comes from EMATH. Believe it or not, you will see this in EMATH. Two particles in EMATH are very, very common. One car, one truck, whatever. Two motorcycles. You have been doing this since primary 5 and primary 6, if you remember. There has always been this kind of questions. So the two particle one, although not very common in AMAT, is super common elsewhere. So they bring it in lah. So far, anything to clarify? Now notice people, I'm trying to make you feel comfortable with the question, I suppose, without even discussing how to do it yet. Hopefully that works lah. Now, tell me, Matthew, by reading this question simply, how does this question decide to start? Does it decide to start with displacement or velocity or acceleration?
Velocity.
You should say for A is velocity, right?
Yeah.
By the way, that's not true. He start with acceleration and he actually did not give you velocity. That's very scary, isn't it? This is not the velocity. He only say it starts with the velocity, which means at time equals to 0, the velocity is 9. That is not starting with the function of the velocity. One more time. The velocity is not 9. The velocity is 9 only at t equals to 0. There are many other t's. Matthew and everybody else, do you understand? Matthew? However, Matthew, he did give you acceleration. Why? The word constant. Constant means no matter what the time is, it never changes. So therefore, the acceleration is 2. Now, Sean, let me ask you, expectation-wise, if you start with acceleration, he doesn't have to ask you. You have expectations already. If you start with acceleration, what do you expect to happen? If you don't know, just say don't know.
I don't know.
Look at this flow. Acceleration is below here, right?
Velocity.
Yeah, by integrating once and integrating twice if necessary to find displacement. That is immediately your expectation. It's not what the question need to set to you. Do you understand what I'm saying?
Yes.
Now, look at the thing itself though. Now, acceleration is 2. We are certain. What is the integration of 2? Come on, son.
Um,
The integration of 2 is?
0.
No, that's the differentiation of 2.
Oh,
The integration of 2 is 2x, but we shouldn't use x here, we should use t. Son, do you understand?
yeah.
Okay, plus c, don't forget. Even though you didn't do it right, in some other ways, you must admit this is hardly complicated. Correct or not? The integration itself is hardly complicated. The thing to focus on is to understand the question. I hope that makes some sense. Anu, the integration of 2t plus c, is it going to be hard?
Is it 2t squared plus
No. Over 2. So it's t squared. Be careful.
plus ct?
And you forgot plus d. Correct? It's something that I didn't train you, so I have to remind you all the time. You forget plus d. Now, Anu and everybody else, the second expectation. Again, the first expectation is you need to do this no matter what the question is. Trust me, you will need to do this. The second expectation is, in this kind of question, they want you to find the C. They really want you to find the C. And they have given you the means. You must expect them to give you the means. The means look like this. Matthew, you're quite good at this last time. Do you remember that?
Yeah, but I
And
sort of
you're
forgot.
no problem, you're rusty. My point is, Matthew and everybody else, you should expect them to give you something like this. V equals to 9, T equals to 0. Why do we need that? Look at the situation here. They expect you to find C. They won't tell you to find C, because if they tell you to find C, they tell you there is a C. They won't tell you there's a C. You must expect to remember. If you keep forgetting, I guess I have to keep reminding you. But to find the C, it makes sense for them to give you the V and the T, isn't it? It makes a lot of sense. V equals to 9. Simple math. You should expect them to give you this, and therefore that reminds you, oh, I'm supposed to use that to find C. And later on, give you something else to find D. That is the expectation you need to have. Do you understand, people? Thumbs up, please. Okay, last one, Anu. Last thing, because we are almost done. Where do we start with particle B?
The acceleration.
Therefore, what is your expectation? Come on. Your expectation is to go up twice, find
Yeah.
B, to find it. Understand?
Yeah.
Just by doing this is usually around 6 marks already. And I'm explaining this to you because when you see the answer key, this is what they will do. This is the basic expectation for these questions. Is everybody okay at this point? You haven't seen how I do it. Of course, you don't feel comfortable, but I have to explain what the answer key won't give you, the explanation of the flow. Can you at least somehow get that? Do I can see? Do I have some thumbs up? Good. Now, I'll show you the rest and we have to end, right? Then they suddenly talk about distance, and the point is not distance, the point is collision. And then I tell you, hey, collision, man, collision, you have to think about, is it a matter of displacement, velocity, or acceleration? This is where the physics come in. That means it's a bit of reasoning. You probably cannot memorize this. Doesn't feel good. So I'll ask this last question. Sean, a matter of collision, meaning at first they are not colliding. They are in separate position. A matter of collision is a matter of acceleration, velocity, or displacement. so to speak.
Displacement.
Displacement. If you get that, please notice that they don't tell you that. They don't tell you that you have to use displacement. What does that mean? You have to think about it yourself. That is the expectation. Collision in general, or catching up is another word. Catching up simply means colliding, right? As in you're catching up by not colliding with it, but you are there together. So catching up or collision is a very common next scenario after the first step of doing all the integration. That is your expectation, and they give you a lot of marks for it, like stupid amount of marks, for something that I hope you will feel not very hard. Okay, they ask you the distance in the collision. This is not a hint, because look, the speed at collision is always about the displacement. And then they somehow ask about this. What does that mean? That is for future explanation. But I hope if you look at the answer key, you do understand. If you don't, we'll talk about it next time. Now, I will send you these questions for the benefit of you as a practice and everybody else in the group. Any last questions? If not, people, we will, I suppose, discuss a few things also privately using the WhatsApp, right? And then please wait for the question and summon the courage to practice it. The first few weeks is always slow for school. Let's make full use of it by not following school, but by doing what I ask you to do. Okay, people, if there is nothing else, have a good night. I will see you then.
Bye bye.
Bye-bye,
Bye-bye.
Zem. Bye-bye,
Bye.
Matthew. Bye-bye, Anu.